This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Angie Taves talks with Tara Ritter with the Institute for Agriculture and Trade Policy.
And let's talk about the farm letter that is out at the moment that is being pushed.
So the farmer letter calling for climate solutions was written by the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition, which is a group of membership organizations. So we're representing the voices of farmers. Farmers helped write this letter, and we are getting farmers to sign on from across the country. The goal is to just get thousands of signatures for farmers saying that, they believe in climate change, they want climate action, and they want to be part of the solution. So there's huge potential for agriculture to not only sequester carbon in the ground, but by doing that, it makes farms a lot more resilient to the extreme weather events that we're seeing. So, soils can hold water better, it prevents erosion, and in a lot of cases, it can boost yields and decrease input costs too. So we're really calling for these holistic solutions and for Congress to invest in those in a lot of different ways. And this letter is meant to kind of challenge the narrative that climate change isn't a big concern for farmers, because we know it is, and we want to lift up those voices.
And what are the things of climate change that we're seeing right now?
A lot. So I live in Minnesota. I can't speak specifically for Kansas, but on a U.S. level, we've seen rising temperatures everywhere. They're rising less in the South, more in the Midwest and the West. Extreme precipitation, which includes both heavier rainfall and snowfall too. So we had the snowiest February on record this year, which, was the weight of it was collapsing barns. Then it was melting and the soils couldn't take it up. And then also the extreme heat can cause stress on livestock. It can cause stress for farm workers too. And then also, as these changes happen, pests and diseases are moving northward. So crops and animals are suffering from that too.
And what do you say to people that say that those are just natural occurrences and not related to climate change?
At the end of the day, things are changing. And when it comes to agriculture, farmers are experiencing it the most out of anybody. So first of all, again, these practices are increasing resilience on farms too, and they're helping farms withstand these greater weather extremes, whether or not you think they're human-driven. They're things that really invest in the health of your soil and invest in the viability of your farm. So, in a way, it does matter, but it doesn't too when you're working on these solutions that are just meant to be, boosting resilience and helping with soil health too.
And when we're talking about farmers, what exactly is your definition of that?
We are counting a farmer as it's defined by the USDA, and I believe that's any operation that sells more than $1,000 a year.
And so those are the people that you would like to call into action to sign this letter?
Yes, so this letter is open for sign-on from farmers and ranchers. And so we are not inviting the general public or advocacy organizations to sign on. Unfortunately, that means I can't sign on. But we do really want to lift up the farmer and the rancher voices, because we believe those stories are the ones that are really powerful and the ones that have the ability to really push policymakers to look at this issue differently. Well, we plan to deliver this letter in the spring to Congress and to the USDA, and so hopefully with a critical mass of thousands of signatures from across the country, we'll be able to have a really powerful showing when we bring this to members of Congress. We're hoping to also fly a few farmers into DC, whether we have a hearing or whether it's just testifying to certain offices, to really advocate for the changes that we want to see. And, those are broad, but they generally require changes within the Farm Bill and within USDA programming. And so we have a whole suite of asks that are associated with this, but too long to get into. Something does need to change. We're in a really hard farm economy right now, and when you pair that with all of these challenges from weather, it's becoming harder and harder for farms and for farmers to remain viable. And so we do see these as long-term changes that are necessary, not only to invest in our natural resources, which is super important, but also to invest in the viability of our farms. We need farmers on the land. We need them making a solid living. And a lot of these changes are the types of things that that can keep farms more resilient in the face of the changes that we're seeing. And hopefully, too, a lot of them are conducive to keeping small and mid-sized farms going and viable too, so that it's not, so that we can maybe move away from the pattern of consolidation and overproduction.
Thanks, Angie. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.